Hey everyone, my name is Claude from the Lamest Defenders, and obviously my partner in crime, Clinton, isn't here today. He's actually on vacation, so obviously this episode is going to be a lot better without him. So we got lots to cover with this new X-Men comic, so let's just go ahead and get started. Welcome back, everyone. So for this week, Clinton obviously covers most of the X-Men comics, but I'm covering him with this week's important relaunch of X-Men. Well, it's technically called just Marauders, but it's an X-Men book, and it's the very first one. And the team obviously consists of, if you look at the cover, it is Kitty Pryde, Pyro, which is surprising, Storm, and Iceman. So this is definitely a very unique team. It really kicks off with Kitty Pryde is trying to access the new mutant sanctuary of Krakoa by they're basically they're portals, but the X-Men and other mutants call them gates, and they're around the world, and basically if you're a mutant you just simply walk through them. Humans, it's a little bit different. They had to be escorted through these gates. But Kitty Pryde, as you may know, has the power to really phase in and out, which is funny because she can't go through the gate. She is, I believe, one of the only mutants that can't go through it. So the comic revolves around that, and it'd be interesting to see where they go with that. But the story continues with her basically stealing a boat. And you just trying to get to this island of Krakoa to be with, basically her people. So she kind of, she's basically a pirate in the beginning. And one of my other favorite parts is on her way there, she actually has a shopping list from Wolverine to pick up barbecue and beer and booze and stuff that they're having trouble getting on the Krakoan island. So she, obviously popped into, the whiskey supplies there. And as soon as she lands on the island, you just see Wolverine. It's my favorite panel in the whole comic, but Wolverine just books it off the beach. And he just beelines it straight for the ship that Kitty Pryde came in on. So that was pretty awesome. And going forward, there's some really interesting aspects of this book, especially probably my favorite interaction that she has entire comic is her and Iceman. That's a really great team. Both mutants are really eccentric and really awesome together, and they kind of just feed off each other. And while she's there in Krakoa, she kind of feels, I guess, kind of out of place. She doesn't really have a place to stay. I guess they didn't pile up some leaves or anything for her to sit on or lay on. So she doesn't have a real room or anything. And telepathically, she gets connected with Emma Frost, who wants to have basically a telepathic sit-down meeting or a proposition with her, which is very interesting. And one of those propositions is she's basically going to lead, or she gets offered to lead the Hellfire Trading Company. So that's pretty crazy. So basically her job would be to smuggle in mutants that, or not really smuggle, but transport mutants who can't access those Krakoan gates due to maybe getting blocked by, humans that are, camping at these gates and not allowing any mutants through. Some stuff going on in Russia where that seems to be a problem. So Kitty Pryde kind of, looks, she kind of delves into that, and she accepts the offer, and she thinks it's kind of cool to be a pirate. I mean, come on. So she gathers a team, and as I said before, it is Storm, Iceman, herself obviously, and Pyro, which is really interesting because Pyro is obviously a former bad guy from the Brotherhood of Mutants, and there's he died previously a long time ago in the X-Men mythology. He was actually one of my favorite mutant characters. I kind of got to know him first in X-Men 2, and then you actually looking at the character's history, he is definitely Australian. So I guess Bryan Singer messed that one up, like a lot of things, going on with Bryan Singer. Our first, I guess, real assignment is to tried to get some of those mutants that were blocked by Russia. And it's a Russian military, or at least that's kind of, they don't explicitly say, but I mean, come on, this Russia, this military group has a tank, so you kind of have to assume. So when they get there, they are immediately attacked by a Russian military member that's wearing this kind of exosuit that can block X-Men abilities. So they had to fight that, and along with other Russian troops there. It's pretty brutal, some of the fight scenes too, and it's really cool. Like at one point, Kitty Pryde, there's a cat cameo, Kitty. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but she could stay, I guess. There is a fight scene, and obviously Kitty Pryde can phase through different things. So she grabs it looks like an AK-47 that these troops use, and basically phases it in between two of the troops' legs. So I'm pretty sure that would hurt a lot, and it's pretty badass that she did that. And I'm pretty sure, like, during this fight scene, multiple Russians were killed, because there's some brutal things, like I said before. Pyro, for instance, he doesn't have, I guess, a lighter. Maybe he's out of fluid because he can control flames. He just can't create them. So he asks Kitty Pryde for help, and Kitty Pryde uses her dragon Lockheed to kind of give him some dragon flame, basically, and you just see Pyro roast people. So I guarantee they're dead. They're like, they say they're running away, but I mean, if you get blasted by fire, let alone, I've seen Game of Thrones, okay, so I know dragon fire isn't anything to mess with, and these guys are probably dead. So if you remember in the Powers of X and House of X, you can't kill humans. Murder is obviously a bad thing, either with the mutant community or humanity. So Sabretooth actually murdered people in House of X, and now he's living underneath a tree, and like he's basically mutant prison. So it's kind of weird that happened, but maybe that just gets overlooked. Maybe they're just a little bit toasty and not so much dead. I guess it's not a crime to burn someone, maybe, but killing them, I don't know, it just felt a little bit off. So overall, Marauders #1 is honestly amazing. I can't recommend this book enough. Kitty Pryde is a pretty awesome character by herself, but her with some interesting, team choices. I mean, her interaction with Storm is great. Iceman is great. Pyro is kind of, the wild card of the team, but Kitty Pryde is she's just an amazing read, and really entertaining, and you see some funny scenes with her too, with like drinking, and she's just a belligerent drunk on the island of Krakoa, and and I've read all the House of X stuff and the Powers of X stuff, and the new X-Men #1 that came out, and honestly I think I like Marauders #1 a whole lot better. It's just a more fun, cohesive read, and it's definitely a series that is honestly great. So that does it for my Marauders #1 reviews. So coming out, I have 2 more comics that I picked up this week: Amazing Spider-Man 32 and Spider-Man Velocity #3. So stay tuned for those, and I will catch you guys later. Stay lame.